Welcome to the world of Python, one of the most popular and beginner-friendly programming languages on the planet. Whether you're completely new to coding or coming from another language, you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to write your very first Python program together, step by step. No complicated jargon, no confusing setup, just pure, hands-on learning that makes sense. Python is known for its simplicity, clarity, and versatility. It powers everything from web apps and automation scripts, to data science, AI, and even games. That's why it's often the first language taught in top universities and coding bootcamps around the world. But today, we're starting with the basics. We'll show you how to write your first line of code, run it, and understand exactly what it does. This is the first real step in your Python journey, and trust me, it's an exciting one. So grab your keyboard, open your mind, and let's dive in. Until then, happy coding! In this video, you'll learn the core building blocks of writing and running a Python program. We'll start by showing you how to open a Python environment, write your first line of code, and run it successfully. Then, we'll break down exactly what happens behind the scenes, what Python does when you run that code, and how it gives you output. You'll also learn about some essential tools that developers use to make writing Python easier and more productive. By the end of this video, you won't just have typed a line of Python, you'll understand it, you'll own it, and you'll be ready to build more. This is where your Python adventure begins, and it's going to be fun. Before we start coding, we need to set up the right environment, a place where we can write, run, and test our Python code easily. The good news? Python is super flexible, and you've got options. If you don't want to install anything right now, just open your browser and use an online editor like Replit, Google Colab, or Python Anywhere. They work right out of the box, no setup, no fuss. But if you want to work offline like a pro, head over to python.org and download the latest version of Python. It's completely free and works on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Once you install Python, you'll want a good code editor. Some great choices include VS Code, PyCharm, or even something simple like Notepad++ or Sublime Text. Now, let's make sure everything is working. Open your terminal or command prompt and type Python version. If it prints out a version number like Python 3.11.5, you're all set. And that's it. Your environment is ready to go, now it's time to write your very first Python file and run it. Let's jump into it. Now comes the exciting part, it's time to actually write your very first line of Python code. The most classic first step in any programming journey is printing something to the screen. And in Python, that's super easy. We use a built-in function called print, just like telling the computer, hey, show this text. Here's how it looks, print, hello, Python. That one line does a lot more than it seems. When you run it, Python takes that instruction, interprets it line by line, and then displays the result on your screen. Simple. Direct. Powerful. It's your first conversation with the machine, and the machine listens. Let's break this down. Print is a function, a command that does something specific. The parentheses are required to call the function. Inside the quotes, hello, Python, is a string, a line of text you want to output. Don't worry if these words like function or string sound new, we'll cover them all in detail. Right now, just focus on this moment, you're officially writing real Python code. And it works. You've opened the door. Now let's walk through it and see what's next. Now that you've written your very first line of Python code, print, hello, Python. It's time to dive deeper and truly understand what's going on behind the scenes. Let's start with a simple truth, the print function is one of the most frequently used tools in programming. And for a good reason. Why? Because print is your direct line of communication with the computer. It lets you see what your program is doing. Think of it like this, if your code is a thought, print is your voice. It turns silent logic into visible output. Let's dissect it step by step. The word print is actually the name of a built-in function in Python. And when we say function, we mean a reusable piece of code that does something specific. In this case, it takes the content you provide, and displays it in the console. Anything you write inside the parentheses, between those, is what gets printed. And here's the important part, you have to wrap your message in quotes, either, or. Because you're printing a string, which is programmer speak for a piece of text. Let's look at a few examples. Print, hello, world. Print, I love Python. Print, 3 plus 4. Each one of these will display exactly what's inside the quotes, as is. But watch this, print, 3 plus 4. No quotes this time. And guess what? Python doesn't just print the characters, 3 plus 4. It actually calculates the sum and gives you the result, because when it sees numbers without quotes, it treats them as math. This is where print becomes powerful. You can use it to show results of calculations, combine text and data, or debug your code. Let's say you want to print both text and a number. Print, the result is 7. Python is smart enough to separate the two, and give you, the result is 7. Notice how we used a comma, not a plus sign. That's the Pythonic way of joining multiple items in print. Also, did you know you can print multiple lines? Print, line 1 \n line 2 \n line 3. The \n is called a new line character, and it tells Python to move to the next line. So in summary, print is how you talk to the screen. It helps you understand what's happening inside your code. It's flexible, you can print text, numbers, even results of calculations. And it's essential in debugging, testing, and building real applications. Congratulations, you've just unlocked one of the most powerful tools in coding. From here, every time you write print, you're doing something meaningful. Up next, we'll explore how Python handles variables. So you can start storing and reusing data like a pro. Let's go. It's time to run your first Python program. When you write code, it just sits there like instructions in a notebook. It doesn't do anything until you tell Python to execute it. To run your program, you typically save your file with a .py extension, for example, hello.py. Then, you can use a terminal or code editor to launch it. In a terminal, you type, python hello.py. And hit enter. Just like that, Python reads your file from top to bottom, one line at a time, and performs whatever you told it to do, in our case, probably printing a message to the screen. If you're using an online editor like Replit or a beginner-friendly IDE, there's usually a big run button, and clicking that does the same thing behind the scenes. Now, here's something important. If you make a typo, for example, you write parenting instead of print, Python will immediately stop and show you an error. These messages might look scary at first, but they're actually helpful hints. They often tell you exactly where the problem is, and even what kind of error it is. One more tip, make sure you save your file before running it. Otherwise, Python might run the old version and leave you wondering why your changes aren't showing up. So in short, save your file. Run the file. Watch the output. Learn from errors. Now you're not just writing Python, you're executing it. That's a huge step forward. Let's go. Have you ever wondered what actually happens when you press that magical run button? What does Python really do with your code behind the scenes? Let's lift the curtain and take a quick peek into Python's brain. First, it's important to know that Python is an interpreted language. That means your code doesn't get turned into machine code right away like it does in compiled languages such as C++ or Java. Instead, Python reads and executes your code line by line, from top to bottom, almost like reading a recipe one step at a time. So what happens exactly? Step 1, parsing. When you run your program, Python doesn't just jump straight into action. It first parses your code, that means it checks your syntax, breaks your code into meaningful parts, and builds a structure that it can work with. If there's a missing parenthesis or a weird symbol, Python will catch it right here and stop everything to let you know. Step 2, Bytecode compilation. If everything looks good, Python converts your code into bytecode. This is a low-level, platform-independent set of instructions that is easier for Python to process. Think of it as a simplified, standardized version of your code that's ready to be executed. So something like, print, hello, world, gets turned into bytecode instructions like, load underscore name print, load underscore const, hello, world, call underscore function. Pretty cool, right? Step 3, the Python virtual machine, PVM. Now comes the final actor in this story, the Python virtual machine, or PVM. This is the engine that takes your bytecode and executes it line by line, managing memory, running functions, handling errors, and more. You can think of the PVM as Python's brain, quietly working behind the scenes to make your code come to life. So, in summary, Python parses your code. It compiles it into bytecode. Then the Python virtual machine executes that bytecode. Each time you run your program, this entire process happens, often in just milliseconds. It's fast, efficient, and surprisingly elegant. And that's how your Python code goes from a bunch of characters on the screen, to actual actions being performed by your computer. Now that you understand how Python executes code, you're one step closer to mastering how programming really works under the hood. Let's keep going. When you're just starting out with Python, or any programming language, really, it's easy to fall into certain traps. These mistakes aren't a sign that you're bad at coding. In fact, they're part of the learning journey. But the sooner you recognize them, the faster you grow as a developer. Let's look at some of the most common beginner mistakes, and more importantly, how to avoid them. First up, wrong indentation. Python is strict about indentation. Unlike many other languages, indentation isn't just about readability in Python, it defines code blocks. If you forget to indent a line inside a loop or function, or if your indentation isn't consistent, Python will throw an error. So always double-check those spaces or tabs. Second, using the wrong variable names or reusing them without realizing it. You might assign a value to a variable called name, then later accidentally overwrite it. Or worse, you use a variable before even assigning it a value. Python is flexible, but it expects you to keep your variables under control. Third, confusing assignment, =, with comparison, =. It's a classic mistake. You might write if x equals 5, instead of if x equals 5, the first one tries to assign 5 to x, which isn't allowed in an if statement and will crash your code. Next, forgetting to convert input values. Remember, when you use input, in Python, it always returns a string. If you're asking the user for a number, you'll need to wrap it with int, or float, to do calculations properly. Otherwise, you'll end up trying to do math with text, and Python won't like that. Then there's the classic, spelling errors in variable or function names. You might define a function called calculate_total, and then later call calculate_total, Python will say it's not defined. Unlike some languages, Python is case-sensitive. So value, and value are three different things. Another big one, ignoring error messages. New learners often get scared or confused when Python throws an error. But error messages are your friends. Read them carefully, they often point you straight to the issue and even tell you the line where it happened. And finally, trying to write big, complex programs before mastering the basics. This is totally understandable, everyone wants to build something cool fast. But skipping over the fundamentals often leads to frustration. Instead, build your skills one block at a time. Focus on writing clean, simple code. The complexity will come naturally as you grow. The takeaway? Making mistakes is normal, it means you're learning. But being aware of these common pitfalls can save you a lot of time and confusion. And remember, every pro coder once made all of these same mistakes. Keep going. You've got this. Alright. Now that we've talked theory, it's time to get our hands dirty and actually write some code together. Let's walk step by step through a small Python program, nothing too fancy, but just enough to solidify what we've learned. First, let's open up your code editor. It could be something like VS Code, PyCharm, or even just an online interpreter like Replit. Anywhere you can type and run Python code is perfect. Okay, let's begin by writing the classic, print, hello, Python. Hit run, and watch your first output appear. That's Python in action. Now let's go a bit deeper. We're going to write a program that asks for your name, greets you personally, and tells you how many characters are in your name. Let's write it out line by line. Name equals input, what's your name? Print, hello, plus name plus, exclamation point. Try it out. Enter your name and see what happens. Great. Now let's count the letters in your name using the len function. Print, your name has, len, name, letters. Boom. You just combined input, output, string manipulation, and a built-in function. See how easy and fun that was? Let's try one more small example. Let's say we want to take two numbers from the user and add them. Number 1 equals input, enter the first number. Number 2 equals input, enter the second number. Now if we do, print, number 1 plus number 2. Something weird happens. Instead of adding the numbers, it sticks them together. This is string concatenation, it's treating them like text, not numbers. To fix that, we need to convert them to numbers using int, total equals int, number 1, plus int, number 2. Print, the sum is, total. Now try it again. Enter two numbers, and tada. The correct result. That right there is one of the most common beginner bugs, and now you understand exactly why it happens. Coding is like solving little puzzles, and every time you run your program and fix a bug, you get a reward, a working solution. So keep experimenting. Don't worry about mistakes. In fact, make as many as you can, that's how you grow. Take a moment now to type a small variation on your own. Maybe ask the user's age or combine strings in new ways. The keyboard is your playground. Brain keyboard party popper. Alright, it's quiz time. Let's pause for a moment and test how much you've actually absorbed. No pressure, this is just for fun and to reinforce what you've learned. Answer each question in your head, or even better, grab a sticky note and jot your answers down. Ready? Let's go. Question 1. What function do we use to display text or output in Python? A. Say. B. Write. C. Print. D. Display. Give it a second. Got it? The correct answer is C. Print. It's Python's built-in way to output information to the screen. Question 2. Which of the following lines will produce an error? A. Print, hello. B. Print, 42. C. Current, hi. D. Print, bye. Think carefully. Answer, C. Parent, hi, is incorrect because parent is not a valid function. It's a common typo. Python will catch it and stop the program. Question 3. What happens behind the scenes when you run a Python program? A. It's converted directly into machine code. B. It's compiled into C++. C. It's interpreted and executed line by line. D. Nothing, Python just pretends to run it. Answer. Correct, C. Python reads your code line by line and executes it using the Python Virtual Machine, PVM. That's how it brings your instructions to life. Question 4. Which of the following is not a good beginner practice? A. Saving your file before running it. B. Reading error messages carefully. C. Typing code without understanding it. D. Using print to debug your code. Easy one. Answer, C. Typing code without understanding it might work short-term, but it won't help you grow as a programmer. Be curious, not just copy-paste. Why? Final bonus, true or false, if you forget a closing quote or parenthesis, Python will automatically fix it for you. False. Python doesn't fix your typos, it politely yells at you with an error message instead. But that's okay, every error is a clue. That's it for the mini quiz. How did you do? If you nailed most of those, amazing. If you missed a few, don't worry, you're learning and that's what matters. Review the lesson, try some hands-on practice, and you'll get stronger every time. Next up, it's challenge time. Let's push things further and give you something to build on your own. Let's go. Alright, you've made it this far, and now it's your turn to take the keyboard. Let's wrap up this lesson with a fun challenge that puts everything you've learned into practice. Open up your code editor, create a new Python file, and try this. Write a small Python program that does the following 3 things, one step at a time. Print your name to the screen. Print your favorite color, or maybe your favorite food, that works too. And finally, print one fun fact about yourself, something cool, interesting, or even random. Each of these should be written using a separate print statement, and remember, spelling and punctuation matter. Python won't understand if something's off. And don't worry, you don't have to overthink it. The goal here isn't to be fancy, just write 3 clean and working print lines. That's it. Feel free to customize the output to reflect you. You could even print a quote you like, or add emojis. For example, maybe, print, "Hey, I'm Alex." Print, "My favorite color is deep blue." Print, "Fun fact, I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute." Try running your program and check that it prints exactly what you expect. If you see any errors, take a deep breath, read the message carefully, and fix it. That's a big part of programming. Debugging is where the real learning happens. And if your code works, amazing! You just wrote and executed your very first personalized Python script. That's a huge step, well done. You can even try challenging yourself a little further by writing more lines, adding quotes, or experimenting with print formatting, just for fun. The more you play with code, the faster it starts to feel natural. Ready to level up? Then stick around, we're just getting started. Alright, you did it. You've officially written and run your very first Python program. That's a huge step, and if no one has told you this yet, welcome to the world of programming. You've just crossed the threshold from watching code, to actually writing it. That's not easy, and you should be proud of that. In this video, you got a feel for what it's like to type out real code, use the print function, and create something that actually runs. You even customized your own script, made it reflect you, and saw your code come alive in the terminal. That's a win. Now the real journey begins. Because Python, and programming in general, is like learning a new language, but instead of just words, you're learning how to instruct computers to do things for you. The more you write, the more you'll understand. And the more you experiment, the faster it'll click. So, what's next? In the next video, we're going to break down something essential, variables and data types. That's how Python stores different types of information, like numbers, text, and even true/false values, and how you can use them in your own programs. We'll cover terms like int, float, str, and bool, and I'll show you real-world examples you'll actually use. Trust me, once you understand variables, you unlock a lot of power in Python. Until then, I've got a small challenge for you. Open up your editor, and keep playing. Try writing a few more print statements. Tell a short story. Print your favorite quote. Or maybe make a few mistakes on purpose, just to see what kinds of error messages Python gives you. It's all part of the process. And hey, if you found this video helpful, it would mean the world if you'd hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment sharing what you built in your first Python file. I'd love to hear it. You've made it this far, so don't stop now. You're building a new skill, line by line, and your future self will thank you for sticking with it. I'll see you in the next one. Happy coding!